Hi everyone, welcome back. First and foremost today, you should be working on your concert music. Make sure you're practicing that with the time that's allotted. This assignment that we're going to talk about today is your composition assignment. And this is due not this next Monday, but the week after that on the 27th, okay? So I'm just giving you this so that you have time to work on it before it's due. However, the most immediate thing is on the 21st. Make sure you get your concert music done. That assignment is either up now or will be up shortly. Okay, but as for this assignment, I wanted to teach you how to do it. And the main concept that we have here, besides figuring out how to log onto Finale Notepad, is that of triads. We've done all sorts of arpeggios. Every single scale that we've learned, it's come with an arpeggio. And you may recognize this whenever I ask, what are the three notes of this arpeggio? For instance, C major, C, E, G. For F major, it's F, A, C. G major, G, B, D. This is all in your assignment. You should be able to see it just fine. So the idea of these triads is that triads are chords. Chords are harmonies. Okay, triads, chords, harmonies, kind of all the same thing. What a harmony does is it moves the song along. As this description says right here, C major triad is the home. It makes us feel like we're established. And we can't do that without contrasting it against the G major, and I'll explain why in just a second. And then F major, if you count in the C major scale to F, it's 4 notes away. C, D, E, F. Okay, we count music a little differently. We include the note that we're on. Anyway, F is a 4th away. And so that, for some reason, according to the musicians that we've studied over the course of the years, have found out that F, or the 4th of the scale, the triad that goes with it, makes us feel like we're going somewhere, like it has to go to G. Now, G is the second most important chord of the whole scale. Why? Well, remember our music lesson when we talked about the circle of fifths? The reason why the fifth, or dominant, is so important, G in this case being the dominant of C, right? Fifth. Here it is. The reason why it's so important is because that is the farthest around the scale that we get until we come to another C. Now, technically, if you cut up 7 notes in half, it would be like 3.5 steps away until you get to C again. Anyway, I digress. The 5th of the scale is as far as you can get away until you start coming back. It's like Fiji for the world, right? If you go to Fiji, you're almost there, the other side of the world, until you start coming back. Anyway, so those are the triads that we're working with here, and the reason why they're so important and the reason why these instructions exist is so that we make music that feels like it's going somewhere. So we're going to refer back to this. I would recommend keeping that open on a tab while you open up Finale. Now, if you don't know how to get Finale on your computer, it's completely free. You should have seen the video either at the beginning of that assignment. It might even be on the announcement. I haven't decided yet. But first thing you're going to do is go to the Setup Wizard. You're going to pick a group that has your string instrument in it. For sake of everyone involved in this video, pick orchestra, and then you can click on the instruments you don't need. For instance, second violin, viola, cello, bass, right? Then you're going to get rid of those. No, I don't want to make permanent changes to the string orchestra. Title your piece. You can give it whatever title you want, so long as, you follow the same criteria that I've mentioned before. I'm just going to designate mine as Orchestra Level 3. Composer, you definitely have to put your name on your work. I'm doing this one-handed so that the camera can see what I'm doing on the screen. I don't normally type with one hand. Everyone, you should learn how to type. All right. So here comes the first part of the assignment that's absolutely mandatory. You have to choose 6/8 time. You have to be in C major. If at a future time you need to change it, you can right there. Okay. And also make sure it's major, not minor. Then, oops. There we go. I scrolled down. Ah, there it is again. That's interesting. So watch out for that. And then make sure you have 8 measures long. Everything else can remain the same. So I've given you instructions on the Canvas assignment about how you're going to do this. Essentially, the first measure is going to be in C, second measure in G, 2 measures of C, 2 measures of F, G, and then C. What that's going to create is that we're home. We're contrasting against where we're going to go, and then we're home again for the next 2 measures. In these 2 measures, we're going to be moving along, and then we're at our peak, and then here's our conclusion. That's the way most all classical music goes. There's innovations over the years that you'll talk about later on in your music career, but as far as the core of what all music has, it's this. It goes from 1 to 4 to 5 to then 1, but with some variation in between, like hills and mountains, right? Okay, now let's get started. I'm going to show you how to work this program. First, you want to grab some notes. Now, you need to have some notes. Look at the description to see what kind of notes you need. And then you can place it either with arrow keys, as you see right there. As soon as I click arrows, it can go wherever you want. Press enter. Or you can just place it on the program itself. So I've notice how I put a C, E, G, G, E, C. Arpeggios are a very easy way of filling up measures, but don't copy exactly what I'm doing. Now, the next measure has to have G, B, and D, right? So I'm going to go down here to G, G, B, D. Let's switch it up a little bit. G, D, B. And then the next 2 measures have to be in C again, which works great because D is going to lead its way to C. Or B is going to lead its way to C. Now you can have repeated notes. This is totally fine. C, C, C. Let's go to G, G, G. G, G, G. Let's use some different kinds of notes here because you have to have at least 2 of each kind that I've designated here. Let's talk about a dotted note. So in this case, a dotted quarter note. I click quarter note first, and then I click the dot. These things are pesky. You have to deactivate it after you're done. But not today. C, 2, 3, and then we need 3 more eighth notes, or maybe even a quarter note. C, 2, 3, G, 2, and then I'm going to get an eighth note. E, okay? I've got a measure of C, measure of G, 2 measures of C. Now I need 2 measures of F. Yeah, let's stay with eighth notes right now. It's better to move it along. And notice how I'm right here on E. That'll lead great to F, okay? Try to stick with notes that are close together. Oops, I did a wrong note there. Did you see? I have to stay between F, A, and C. So let's stick with F and A. And this time, let's do an pa, pa, and so forth. F, A, F, A. And then another measure of F. Let's go with A, C, C. Let's do another dotted quarter note so that we get enough variety right here. F, C, C, C. And then we have to go to the key of G. Again, I'm just using my brain to remember all this. Deactivate. There we go. But you guys can reference back to all of I've done so far. Now, for some reason on my computer, the way it's set up right now, I'll have to explore later. It doesn't have a playback feature for this right here. So if I play it right here on the playback, oh, you can kind of hear it. See the papa? Let's do that again. I want to hear it from the beginning. And you can play this even in the middle of composition if you're like, okay, I'm just throwing notes down. I have no idea what it sounds like, if I like it or not. So you just, play around with it. You can play, pause, go back to the beginning, and so forth. That sounded actually pretty good. If I were to make my own piece of music without any parameters, I might want to change a little bit of the rhythm right here to give it more excitement before the end. But as it fits, I think I've got, 2/8 notes. I've got 2 dotted quarter notes, and I've got 2 dotted half notes. Especially the last one has to have a dotted half note. Oh, you know what I did forget is that this needs to be a B, right? So here's what you do. You go right here to this move note, okay, repitch tool, and you're going to line it up with the note you want to repitch. Now, the guidelines say it has to be a B right before the end, right? That's very important because B is the 7th of the scale, and 7ths give the most drive to get back to C. So I can either do it by that, or I can, I think, just highlight it. Nope, I have to hit the repitch tool. Again, you could either place it, or you can use the arrow keys to move it, whichever is your favorite. Before I play this again, let me show you just a little bit more about how else you're going to edit in case you make a mistake right there. Click the eraser tool and click the note that you don't want anymore. Now, something that might give you some trouble is if you click anything else after that, it's going to shove everything to the left and fill in that space with a rest. Now, here's how you combat that. First, you have to get rid of the rest because it's doing its job. It's filling in the rhythm there with what it anticipates you'll want. And then I'm going to see if I can squeeze in that C there. Let's see if that works. It worked. But you have to align it. If you do it at the same place as something else, trouble, right? And then you have to be real precise with this eraser tool. It might get rid of both of them, in which case you just have to be really careful or redo what you wanted. Okay, let's hear again what this sounds like. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. So that's the ingredients of how to make a good song, guys, and you'll be surprised at how inventive you can get with just 3 notes in each of those measures. We're going to get on to more complicated stuff later on, but I hope you take the time to take this seriously, follow the guidelines I've given, and explore what you can do within that. All right? Have a good weekend. See you again on Tuesday when we will perform for each other and for Smart Music, our concert pieces. Bye-bye.